Ridley Scott, a fantastic director. Where do his movies rank? Let's find out right now. Bam, here we go. These aren't in any real order. If I haven't seen it, it's going to stay at the bottom. American Gangster. No, Miles, I have not seen American Gangster. I'm sorry, I haven't. It's like 3 hours long, and I guess I was Russell Crowe'd out at the time, because he's in it, right? It's not a lame excuse, Heavy. You know I'll just play Valorant with you for like an hour and a half. You can't just play Valorant just casually for a half an hour. I don't play one game. All right. Ridley Scott. There's a couple of his I haven't seen. White Squall I haven't seen. Someone to Watch Over Me haven't seen. A Good Year is bad. We're just going to skip through all of that. A Good Year is bad. Black Rain, it's all right. Legend, I'm putting it as solid, if only because the makeup work on Tim Curry is fantastic. Has there been a better devil, makeup-wise, in any movie ever? No. I don't know how long he had to sit in that chair. I have no clue. Heavy, dude, I will play with you tomorrow night, off stream. We'll play some Valorant. It's not happening tonight. It's already midnight. I'm committed to this. But thank you. The Duelists, haven't seen it. Alien, the original Alien. It's S tier. It's S tier. Anyone who says otherwise is crazy. He invented a sci-fi horror genre that didn't really exist. He took Truckers in Space, which is what the script was, and elevated it so high. And I don't remember in the making of, and on the 4K there's a documentary, and there's something about where the inspiration came from to have H.R. Giger do all of the designs. It's the most inspired decision from a production design that any film has made in my lifetime. I say my lifetime because this movie came out and I was actually like 3 or 4 years old. I'll hit that at the end, Heavy. Stackhouse agrees. All right, throw me in the chat. Tell me when you agree or disagree. Alien S tier forever. Xenomorphs are iconic. One of the best creatures, bad guys in any movie ever. In terms of non-human antagonists, they're some of the greatest ever of all time. It's a masterpiece. Is it a little slow? No. I don't think it's slow at all. I think the pacing is very deliberate, and he is setting things up. And it's right around 2 hours long, maybe a hair under, and it's all pacing and tension building. And I'm telling you, the film has not gotten old to me. I don't know how many times I've seen it. The only movie I've seen in the franchise more than that's Aliens, which is a totally different film, but is also S tier. And for me, if I'm ranking Alien and Aliens, and maybe we do James Cameron. That's who we got to do next, is James Cameron. Aliens is just a little bit above Alien for me. The best possible decision production could have made. His concepts were and still are amazing. Sigourney Weaver is forever badass. 100%. 100%. Sigourney Weaver destroyed. She got nominated for Best Actress for Aliens, believe it or not. And the director's cut's great on Alien 2, and the director's cut's over 2 hours. So, all right, so everybody agrees, Alien, S tier. You know what else I'm going to put up at S tier, although it's not going to be as highly ranked, is Black Hawk Down. What a fantastic war film. The liberty that he takes in terms of showing the aerial views is the only real liberty in this movie. The casting is spot on every major role. He makes you understand why they're there, and he makes you understand what's happening. In all the chaos, you always have a clear vision of where the characters are in relation to the key points that they're trying to get away from and get to. He what they call an establishing shot, basically. He has to cheat a bit to show some establishing shots, and a lot of those are from like drones, which they didn't have any drones overhead when they did this. That's like one of the only factual inaccuracies about the film. The film, by and large, is pretty close to what happened in Mogadishu. Wonderful editing in this, fantastic. The performances are solid. You feel like you're there, and by the end of the film, you're like panting because you're holding your breath for an hour and a half straight. Phenomenal film. It's a phenomenal film, and it's one of his best. It's not Alien, but it's up there. 1A, 1B. Yeah. Black Hawk Down's no Alien, but I can't put it in great. It is one of his top tier films. And some people may not feel that way about it, and that's fine. It's not like I made a personal connection to the film or anything. I just think I think it is also a masterpiece. Gods and Kings, haven't seen it. The Counselor, I've seen it. It's bad. We're not going to spend any time on this. I don't know what he was thinking with the script. I don't know who wrote it. Doesn't matter. It's terrible. I watched this thinking, it's Ridley Scott. It's got to be great, right? Nope. It's not great. You know what is great? Matchstick Men. I know when I ranked this when I did the Nicolas Cage movies. In terms of Ridley Scott films, it is one of his better films, but it's not S tier. It's A tier. Really good script. One of Nicolas Cage's better performances. He has these nervous tics, and he doesn't overdo it, which you'd expect with Nicolas Cage, but he doesn't do it. He doesn't overdo it. He's very much, he stays in his shoes, but he's still Nicolas Cage. It's a great performance from him. I don't want to say it's my favorite of his. My favorite performances of his, and we've talked about this on stream, Weatherman. If you haven't seen The Weatherman, very underrated, underperformed at the box office. He is fantastic in The Weatherman. Of course, Leaving Las Vegas. And Pig. He's great in Pig. Go check out Pig if you haven't seen it yet. Okay. Matchstick Men's a really good script. The casting is perfect, and all three of the leads. Very good con man type movie. Give it a look. Give it a look. It's on cable sometimes. All the Money in the World. I'm bouncing around all over the place. I'm trying to save some of his bigger films for later. All the Money in the World. It's solid. It's based on a true story. This is one where they'd shot over half the film with someone, and then that person got Me Too'd, and they pulled them out of the film and replaced them with Christopher Plummer, and they had to reshoot more than half the film. It turned out watchable, and I love Christopher Plummer. The movie itself isn't all that compelling. It's well made. It's just not that compelling. Miles saw Pig. Pig was great. I love Pig. Such a great movie. So, All the Money in the World, in fact, it's more like high alright tier. It's more high D. Like, it just, it was very forgettable. So we're going to put it down there. Body of Lies. It's kind of in the same spot with All the Money in the World. Maybe slightly better. A little bit better casting maybe. But, totally forgettable when it was over. Where am I on the movies? No, I haven't seen American Gangster. I know, Miles, you're mad at me about that. I'll have to fix that, but I have not seen it. Oh, 1492, I have not seen. And this Robin Hood with Russell Crowe. Come on, man. No, I ain't watching that. Let's get this one out of the way. I overrated this film when it first came out, and I got a lot of shit for it. Prometheus. It's C tier at best. I think I rated it more like a B when I first saw it. I fell in love with the production design, even though it's very anachronistic, because the production design in that is way ahead of. It's supposed to be a prequel to Alien, but it looks way better, and it's like future sci-fi. There's so many problems with this movie. It's ridiculous. The concept is better than the actual film, and I love the concept. They just pussed out at the end, and you can tell the studio pressured them to put some sort of an alien in at the end. It's just, it's C tier. Prometheus was okay. It looked cool. 100%. Good casting. But you know what's worse is Alien Covenant, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry, y'all. I know this movie has its defenders. It's bad. Alien Covenant is bad. Michael Fassbender and the two Michael Fassbenders being horny for each other, and the couples thing. What the fuck was up with they had to have couples on the ship? And they completely erased the ending of Prometheus inside of 5 minutes. The end of Prometheus had a great setup, and they just flushed it down the fucking toilet for the standard script, standard plot points, and substandard execution. I hate Alien Covenant. That last death metal voice got my throat dry, and I'm out of water. Alien Covenant sucks. We wanted too much from it. Yeah, it's Ridley Scott! And they sold it like the aliens are back. Look at all these aliens climbing on the freaking hovercrafts and shit. There's like 10 minutes of actual action in it, and it's just them trying to get off the planet. It sucks. I'm sorry, it's a turd. It left me going in loops with all the plot holes. Covenant or Prometheus? Either or. Prometheus has more plot holes. Just the whole way that one of them got impregnated, it's so bad. And I like Noomi Rapace, or however you say her name, the lady that was in the original Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I was like, oh cool, she's gonna be in this. Fantastic. I have a lot of problems with Covenant. But where do you put it, Miles? Do you put Covenant above bad because it's an alien film? I realize I'm putting it below Body of Lies and Black Rain and All the Money in the World. This movie made me angry, and it's another example of expectations. I went in with higher expectations, like you said. We wanted too much from it. All right, I got that out of the way. Gods and Kings. Yeah. Great trailer, terrible movie. So unforgettable. Standalone, they aren't bad movies, but as part of the Alien series, they fuck up so damn much. That's a fair way to put it. Like, if I was just watching Alien, well, if you're watching Alien Covenant and you don't have the background, you're going to be really confused. It's between alright and bad. Okay, so you'd rank it a little higher. I mean, there's some redeemable things in Alien Covenant. Maybe enough to where we'll put it up to low D. Okay, it's a little bit ahead of Black Rain, but that's it. That's as far up as I go. G.I. Jane. You know, this movie's okay. It's okay. Love the production design of it. It's very Bruckheimer looking. A lot of weird lighting. A lot of sweaty people. I liked it more the second time. I saw it a couple years ago. I saw it when it came out on video way back in, what, 99? 98-ish? I watched it again on cable a couple years ago. It was better than I remembered it. It's no better than a C. Fair? Okay. Yeah, y'all are with me on G.I. Jane? Alright. Kingdom of Heaven is a B. It's too long.
I just met you, and
Cyber White Tiger rated with a party of 11. My God, there's another raid. Y'all have been fantastic tonight. Thank you so much for the raid, Cyber White Tiger. Good to see ya. How you been? I am ranking all the Ridley Scott films that Ridley Scott directed. We had a raid stream for 2.5 hours. I got really mad at Super Meat Boy, and 420 deaths before I gave up on the boss at the end of Hell, level 4. I hate that boss so much. But 420 deaths. Kingdom of Heaven could have been real shorter. Yeah, they could have cut like 45 minutes out of it, but I'll tell you what. Also, I gotta say, Legolas in the lead, I don't like him in this movie. I don't think he's the very good casting. But man, did they nail the production design, and did they nail the combat scenes. It's worth it for those things alone. And there aren't a lot of movies made about the Crusades. Right? If they are, they don't dive in as deeply as he did. He went all in on the Crusades in Kingdom of Heaven, and I gotta give him some credit for that, because it's not something that's real sexy to the major studios, the major producers. They're not looking for you to make a movie about the Crusades. Ridley Scott got the money to do it. He made a pretty damn good movie, but it's too long. It is too long. In fact, I think there's a director's cut. Orlando Bloom, that's correct. I said Legolas. I like him in some stuff. In this movie, he was just okay. I think the film would have been better had they cast someone with a little more star power, maybe a little more charisma. I have been good, and I was going to ask, what about the movies? about what the movies? Gladiator. So, man, Gladiator's a tough one because a lot of people love this movie. I like it. I had really high expectations when I first saw it in a theater. I just gotten back from a road trip, and it was Sunday night, and I was like, I'm going to see Gladiator. I don't care how tired I am. And I made it through the movie. It's 2.5 hours long. It's actually a better movie than I gave it credit for the first time I saw it. I'm putting it at the top of the B's. I'm sorry. Joaquin Phoenix is so fucking terrible in this movie. I'm sorry. He's terrible in this movie. And I know he's playing a character that is a dipshit, that's spoiled. But he's so over the top, you know, wagging his tongue around. And the ending? Oh, I'll just fight you. Oh, yeah, sure. You scrawny little kid who's been spoiled his whole life. That's supposed to be the final battle in the movie? Like, that ending really let me down. That's the negatives, all right? The positives, there's a lot of them. Is it maybe a high... it's a high B, low A? We'll go outside in just a minute, sweetie. My dog's looking at me. So I'm going to have to rip through these a little bit quicker. I mean, Gladiator's a damn good movie. I just think it didn't deserve Best Picture and some of the awards. He got Best Actor for it. He was a lot better in the movie he made before that, the previous year, called The Insider. Michael Mann, maybe another one we could do a tier maker of. His performance as Jeffrey Wigand in The Insider is fantastic. He's unrecognizable in it. He should have won the Best Actor Oscar that year. I almost feel like Gladiator was a makeup award. I think a lot of people in the Academy came around to The Insider and went, holy shit, we missed that one. Here, give it to him for Gladiator. It's not to say he's bad in Gladiator. He's good. He's good. He's very good in Gladiator. It's just more of a physical performance. Anyway, Gladiator's a very good movie. The opening scene in the forest, unreal. So, I really like the movie a lot. It's just not S tier for me. Blade Runner, S tier. Everyone else shut up. Everyone shut up. It's S tier. You got a problem with that? You got a problem with that? You got a problem with me. Blade Runner is just as influential, if not more influential, visually than Alien. I can't put it as high as Alien for me because it doesn't quite hold up story-wise for me as well as Alien does. But that doesn't mean it's any lesser of a film. In fact, we're talking 1A and 1A minus on these two. Blade Runner is one of his masterpieces. It is up there. It's ahead of Black Hawk Down. No complaints on that one? Okay. And some people think Blade Runner is boring. That's fine. If you think that it's boring, I get it. It's a slow film. But I disagree wholeheartedly. Blade Runner's S all-time, not optional. It's like Rutger Hauer is so quotable in it. Edward James Olmos, fantastic. And watch the final cut. Get that theatrical shit out of here. The narration was intentionally bad because Harrison Ford thought if I do such a bad job that they'll decide not to use it, and they used it anyway. He intentionally did the voiceover shitty. The story behind this film is almost as good as the film itself. All right. Hannibal. This is funny. Real quick story. I saw Hannibal a week or two before it came out because I was a buyer at the time, and MGM took me to go see the movie. Well, they gave me a couple of tickets to a trade screening, so I got to see it a couple weeks before it came out. And I took my roommate and my roommate's friend. My roommate's friend was high on mushrooms. If you know anything about the film Hannibal, if you've seen Hannibal, imagine watching it while you're on a lot of mushrooms. He was tripping his balls off. And I kept looking over at him, and he was like, Hannibal was almost a comedy to me because I kept looking over at him like, Shane, are you okay? No. I said that to him like 2 or 3 times, and every single time the same answer. No. When Hannibal disembowels the dude in Italy, from the top of that church and just guts fly out everywhere. I turn and look at him and he's like, the ending? The brains? He was losing his shit. Like, he was shifting around in his seat. Like, he did not want to be there. It was fucking hilarious. I laughed so hard. Hannibal as a movie? Low C. Final cut, best cut. Alien is about what you don't show. Blade Runner is what you're showing but not saying. That's a really good point, Stackhouse. That's a really good point. Alien is what you don't show. The best horror films leave things to your imagination. And Alien did a bunch of that. They did it because in the suit, he looked a little weird. The really tall dude that they hired to be in the suit, it didn't quite look the way they'd imagined it. So they had to get around it because they had a tight budget. So they shot it in shadows a lot. As it turns out, it was better that way. So fancy, Wheeler Dealer. Are you talking about me seeing a movie early? I used to work in the film industry. I had no idea Ridley Scott did Hannibal, and I've seen it a few times. That sounds like a real bad trip. I would have said, all right. Oh, because you'd have been high on mushrooms. You'd have been like, all right. This dude's brain is getting eaten while he's still alive. All right. They're frying up his brain. Can you imagine watching that shit when you're high on fucking mushrooms? My roommate's friend did. Oh yeah, so glad they cut that scene out when they showed the full body. Oh god. Thelma and Louise. Thelma and Louise is damn good. It's above these. It's above these. In fact, I'm gonna put it ahead of Matchstick Men even. It was so big for its time. Brad Pitt getting his early start. Brad Pitt in this and True Romance. Man, he got into a couple of good movies when he was getting his start. Thelma and Louise broke some barriers down, and the ending is iconic to this day. No one's ever done an ending in a film like that. I mean, not quite. It's Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but a little bit crazier. I like Thelma and Louise a lot. I think it's a really damn good movie. Also, Alien to me set the standard for horror. 100%. 100%. That's why it is top of S tier. And I have one more film on this list, and it's The Martian. I saw this in a theater. I saw it on cable 4 or 5 times. I've seen it on Blu-ray a couple times. And when I bought a 4K Blu-ray player, it's one of the first discs I bought. And it is a fantastic film, worthy of S tier, because again, he takes and shows some establishing shots with cameras that don't really exist, that wouldn't exist in that time, to show us what he's going through. The narration from him, his character, the future tech is near future. It's believable, but still looks cool. You believe he could survive on this planet in spite of all the challenges. I've read an article where someone at NASA or like an actual botanist described the way you would grow potatoes on Mars and how much harder it would have been versus the film. Who cares? Okay, come on. Thank you for telling me all that, but we're not going to worry about that. The movie is a crowd pleaser, and it is one of his best crowd pleaser films. It might be his best crowd pleaser, because Alien on paper isn't a crowd pleaser. Blade Runner, not a crowd pleaser. You look at all these films, none of them are something you're like, hey, let's sit down and have a blast and watch Blade Runner. You don't do that. None of these movies you do that with, except The Martian. It is his most mainstream film. It got nominated for a ton of Oscars. Did it deserve all of them? Kinda. Every role is cast perfectly. Every single one of them. I would maybe argue a little bit with, oh god, she's on SNL and she's like the communications director. In the director's cut, there's a scene with her arguing about someone about her needing more money because she's getting divorced. It's kind of like, that scene didn't really need to be in the movie. We don't need a lot of backstory on some of these characters. is the casting's fantastic. If you have not seen The Martian, shame on you. Go see it. Go rent it. It's on TNT like every other weekend. Watch it on cable. Fun movie. It's fun. It's crowd pleasing. There's a ton of humor in it. And that ending gets me in the feels every single time. Love, love, love The Martian. And maybe I'm rating it a little high for some folks. I've probably seen it 6 times. And that's no joke. Looking at chat. Every time it's on TV, I'm watching. 100%, dude. Like, I finally started turning away from it because we had just watched it on 4K and then it was on like the next day. And I started watching it. Melissa's like, we just watched this last night. I'm like, it's a fucking great movie. Oh, by the way, if y'all like to hear the stories behind some movies, there's a podcast called The Rewatchables. It's with The Ringer is the podcast group. It's Bill Simmons used to work for ESPN, and he's like a NBA sports writer, and a couple of his friends. They do a podcast where they talk about a movie that's rewatchable. They have a really good episode on The Martian, so if you could check that out, The Rewatchables, really fun podcast. So let me catch up on chat real quick. Martian is so watchable. Every time it's on TV, I'm watching. Ridley did such a great job, and Matt was amazing. He was great. Matt Damon was perfectly cast for the film. They're making Andy Weir's most recent book into a movie, which will be very interesting. So, I have not read The Martian, and I have not read any of his books, so I don't know which one you're talking about. Is it another science fiction book? Films are like books that are meant to be a little out of this world. You need to. It's on HBO, I think. Well, if it's on HBO, then it's probably on HBO Max if you have that. Go find it if you haven't. So, alright. There's my ranking, and I've got these in order already, so we don't have to talk too much about it. Alien is Ridley Scott's best film. It created an entire subgenre of horror films. Blade Runner, also, film noir into the future. There are things in that film, soundtrack-wise, that are still being done today. Hugely influential. The Martian, his most popular film, I think, on paper, in terms of being just something that anyone can watch and have a good time with it. Black Hawk Down, very methodical in telling the story of what happened in this attack on these soldiers in Mogadishu. Incredibly, impeccably made film, brilliantly edited, brilliantly cast. Everything about that film, from start to finish, to me, is a classic. Gladiator, some people would put that higher. For me, it's a very strong B. Just have a couple problems with it, a couple things in the film. The CGI hasn't aged very well either. The CGI of the Colosseum looks pretty rough. I'm gonna be honest, hasn't aged well, right? But overall, it's still a really good movie, and Russell Crowe's damn good in it. Thelma and Louise, iconic female heist type movie. It is a female Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Matchstick Men, very underrated. Maybe one of his most underrated films. If y'all haven't seen it, it's Con Men. Nicolas Cage has a daughter who's long lost, never even seen her since she was born. Comes back into his life. He's a con man along with Sam Rockwell, who is his partner. And she wants to kind of join into the business. Wonderful film, great script. Matchstick Men, go check it out. Kingdom of Heaven, maybe rated a little high there as a B, maybe more like a C plus. Yeah, I'm gonna put it a slightly bit ahead of Legend. Legend as a script isn't that great, but the setting, the makeup, dude, Legend is such a weird movie. It's a one of a kind. Prometheus, expectations were a little high when it came out. It's not as bad as some people say, but it's also not as good as I thought it was when I first saw it, being totally fair. G.I. Jane, really good movie, kind of Bruckheimer-y. I think Bruckheimer produced it, in fact. Hannibal, fucked up movie, weird sequel to Silence of the Lambs, which Silence of the Lambs is a fucking S tier forever. Hannibal's watchable, it's just fucking weird and belongs mid-tier. Body of Lies, All the Money in the World, Alien Covenant, Black Rain. These are all movies I've watched once, and that was enough. They're not terrible, they're just eh. And then Gods and Kings. What was that? Like I said, it was a good trailer. The movie itself had no reason to exist. A Good Year, that was just a puff piece for Russell Crowe. A reason for them to go spend some time in a winery, basically. It's a little film. He didn't have much of a budget. It's boring. And The Counselor, trying to be like a Tarantino script, failed miserably. Horrible movie. Do not watch it. It's a waste of your time. That is my tier maker ranking for Ridley Scott films. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you're watching this on YouTube right now, post in the comments. Tell me what you think. What is your favorite Ridley Scott film? And for those in Twitch who are here in the chat, what's your favorite Ridley Scott film on this list? Is it Alien? Is it Blade Runner? Is it Gladiator? Let me know right now. Throw it out there. But hey, it's 12:30. It's time for bed. So I'm going to end this tier maker stream. Thank you so much for watching.